If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. It is September the 15th, 2022, and today the topic is out of order. Whew, y'all, well, happy Wednesday. No, it's today Thursday. Yeah, happy Thursday, y'all. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope that you all had a great Wednesday. Mine was just fine. Yeah, I mean, there was some significant things that happened yesterday, some good conversations. My mind is so engulfed in today's topic, but I do want to let you all know, because it kind of go hand in hand, that we added another playlist to the God, Sex, and Love YouTube channel. I don't know, I really felt led to start creating like prayer and meditations. And so yesterday I recorded and uploaded our very first prayer and meditation. So yeah, so you guys can go and check out that playlist. Hopefully we'll be adding more really soon. I started with women. The topic for the first one is women. It's kind of inspired by the Proverbs 31 woman, and yeah, I'm kind of proud of it. I think it, came out pretty well, and pretty good overall. Yeah. So hopefully that you all can enjoy that if you just want something to meditate on or need something to just kind of play while you're sleeping or something like that. I mean, I guess that's what this new playlist will be dedicated to, content such as that. And yeah, I feel like this first topic of the Proverbs 31 woman, or women in general, was a good one, just because, like, which I guess leads me to the topic today, but just because, like, there's this narrative that the Bible suppresses women and everything like that. And for me, it's a little bit frustrating to continue to hear that, because it's like, anybody that says that to me, it's like, okay, well, it seems like you're not really reading the Bible. Just the observation, in my humble opinion, of people that have that perspective, because when I read the Bible, I see plenty of empowered women. I see plenty of women in a variety of positions. I mean, yes, obviously in the positions of wife and mother and daughter and things like that. But, I've seen women that were queens. I saw women that were judges. I saw women that were prophetess and all these other things where, even women that were evangelists and, all these positions and whatnot, where it's like, I see the Bible tells me that I have authority over my husband's body as a wife. And yeah, so there's plenty of authority that women have, right? And there's plenty of leadership and whatnot that women have. It's just that, from what my little humble opinion and observation, is that it seems as if we just aren't pleased or content with the positions that we are given. Some of us don't seem to be. Now, on one hand, it doesn't seem to be like something that is like new or foreign, or I'm not confused as to why we don't seem to be happy in the position that God has given us, which I feel like there's some verses that kind of directly addresses that. But at the same time, Um, I mean, again, I guess this leads me to the topic of today, which the Lord gave me out of order. Um, and there's some pulp in these verses. I mean, honestly, uh, I've been kind of just going back and forth with this topic for a while because, again, I know I say here all the time, it's like I want to make sure that I'm in order, right? Like, I don't want to be out here doing something that's going to, cause people to stumble versus, bring people closer to Christ and everything like that. And so, I'm familiar with the verses that people use to quote unquote suppress women, and everything like that. Um, and what I'm reading is more so geared towards the church in particular, like and everything like that. But still, I get it that, there might be some things we don't like, right? Some things that are what I call pulp that we don't either fully understand or don't like that the Bible says. But from what I'm seeing, just again, 36 years on earth making observations, it just seems like I guess I can see the results of things being out of order, and so that's the topic today. So that's where the inspiration came from. Basically, yeah, I did a prayer meditation. I barely remember it. I woke up. I still don't know why my alarm is not. I'm not waking up at 4 for the past few days, so I don't know what's going on with that. But the Lord is obviously still waking me up, and I mean, even though yes, I'm recording much later than I usually do, because by the time I guess I got the confirmation that this was what's going to be the subject today, and then like reading all the verses and trying to make sure I had a good understanding to even share on here, and everything like that. Because again, there's still some things I don't fully understand, but then there's things that I think are pretty clear. So let's get into it, y'all. I mean, this might be pulp, you might not like it, but here you go. Genesis 3:16, it says, to the woman he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Now, I mean, obviously, I can have some commentary as a mother, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that in regards to the pain that the Lord bestowed upon us based on Eve's transgression, you know what I mean? But I think what stands out to me the most in this verse is the latter portion. The part that talks about it says, your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Now, I didn't go deeper to redefine desire and all of that, but to me, like when I think about that part, it it I think this is the reason why we take issue with the position that we are in now. You know what I mean? Like God has given men or husbands in particular, so because let's be clear there, God has given husbands, right? Authority over their wives under Christ, right? And we might not like that. Wives, we might not like that. Now, does that mean that every man has authority over every woman? I don't think so, because I think it's clear saying husband and wife. And then a lot of the times it's saying husband over their own wife, and not why, you know what I mean? Like, not men over women. It's not saying man has authority over women. That verse even, let's just read it for what it is. So it says, and your husband, and he shall rule over you. So, I mean, clearly, again, this is for husbands and wives, and everything like that. But what does this mean, right? What does this mean? Well, again, we can go deeper with all of this and just ask the Lord, what he's, you can ask him why, well, Lord, why did you do this? But I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, Eve overstepped the boundary of allowing the serpent to trick her and coerce her into doing what God told them not to do. And then in turn, she turned around and pretty much convinced Adam to do the same. And so uh, it seems to me that God just automatically, was like, look, because of this, right, your husband's going to be, quote unquote, in here it says, rule over you, right? Because, and it could be like a little, how do you say, like a double-edged sword in a way, where it's like, hey, husband, you have to rule over your wife. And that, on one hand, that sounds like, oh, he's ruling over me. But like, when you really, really go deeper about like what it is to be a husband, right? And what that means and what that looks like. Even just yesterday, we were talking about the Good Shepherd. Was that the Bible verse of today, yesterday? I believe it was. Yeah, the Good Shepherd, it says, gives his life for his sheep. And the Bible tells the husband to love the wife as Christ loved the church. If Christ, the Good Shepherd, gave his life for his sheep, I mean, what is it telling the husband to do? Right? And so, on one hand, it's like, the husband is in authority over me, X, Y, and Z. But, there's a lot that the husband is sacrificing, even maybe up to his life, for his wife and family and whatnot. So just things to think about, just random things to think about. I mean, I didn't even think about that this morning when I was doing this. Obviously, again, I try to pray before this thing and ask the Lord to say whatever he wants to say through me. And so, yeah, like, I mean, we might take issue with our positions, right? But obviously, not just I say as punishment, but like these positions were created for a reason from what I'm gathering. But let's keep going. Let's see what else the Bible has to say about this. It's 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, "But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, the head of a wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God." Okay, so we're talking about out of order, right? So it says the head of every man is Christ. So every man, right, should be following Christ. Now, does that include women? I believe, in my humble opinion, I believe that means men and women, right? Every man, But, if we want to just look at the word man and just think of men, then okay, you know what I'm saying? But then we go to the next phrase. Again, it's something we might not like, but it says it. It says the head of a wife is her husband. Now that, again, does this say the head of a woman? No. And can we acknowledge that all women aren't wives? Okay, let's acknowledge that. So we're just talking about wives here and husbands, according to what I'm reading. And so yeah, if you are a wife, it's saying that the head of you is your husband. But then again, it tells us that the head of every man is Christ. So it's very interesting that it goes back to say that. The head of Christ. Okay, excuse me. So my apology. I misspoke there because I just reread the thing over again. I meant to say the head of Christ is God. So, yeah, when things get out of order. Again, I don't think it's. I think we could just literally look and see like what it looks like for this to be out of order. I was listening to Brother Marcus, and he was speaking with another gentleman last night, I guess, about. I just happened to see the video last night. I don't know if it was actually not last night that they recorded it, but they were talking about like the men and basically like how other countries, because obviously I'm here in America, y'all. So, but they were talking about other countries and how their military and men are. Much different, I guess, from ours today and everything like that, and how nations and whatnot can be easily taken over when the men are weakened, I guess you could say. And So, I mean, again, I know there's a lot that we might not like about all of this. We might not like this idea that, oh, the men, X, Y, and Z. But again, I think I've already addressed that. It's not that women can't be in leadership of some sort. It's not that women, there aren't positions for you, and everything like that. It's not that you can't teach and everything like that, because there's plenty to be done. Like, I mean, now listen, I'm not sitting here acting like I'm an expert or something. I'm only this about to be year 6 of marriage for me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And just started motherhood, so I'm only on like year 3 of that, because my son's 3 at the moment, and everything like that. So on one hand, I'm like, well, Lord, why you got me out here talking about this, and everything like that. I know a friend of mine was saying, like, about I guess kind of like speaking over my life in regards to me possibly doing some workshops and things. And I'm like, I'm not opposed to doing whatever the Lord wants me to do. That's fine. I can see things, especially centered around the cultivation period and stuff like that. And I definitely see the importance of women knowing how to be good wives and mothers and everything like that. I mean, women, can we take over those positions? Can we, do that? You know what I mean? Can we teach, people how to, women, how to be good wives and mothers and how to honor that position? I mean, there's a lot of honor in that position. It's not like, for some reason, I guess we make light of those positions for some reason. Um, you know, but I think it goes back to what that verse said here. It literally tells us in Genesis 16 that, or 3:16, that, your desire shall be for your husband and he shall rule over you. So we might not like that, right? We're like, oh, and again, that your desire shall be for your husband line, I'm still trying to mentally figure all that out, because it's like, because to me, when I hear that, it makes me think about women wanting to be in that position of the leadership position that their husband is in now, that God put their husband in, after all of this that happened. That's what it makes me think about. Now, is that accurate or not? I don't know. I'm just saying that's what that makes me think about when I read it. And I can see that exercise in marriages and relationships, in the way that we, deal with each other as men and women, and all of that. I definitely see, not all women, Let's just put that on the table. I can't say all, but I can definitely see that there are a lot of women that seem to want to have, or want to kind of boss their man around and all these different things. I talked about this way back in the day, y'all, because I see that in different relationships, and I didn't understand it at the time, and I still don't fully understand it either. I wouldn't say that I'm that type of wife. I mean, who knows? Maybe my husband, not say I allow him to have too much authority or something, because I'm always like, hey, I don't have a problem with him being the head. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with what the Bible says regarding women in positions, because again, I see plenty of leadership positions. Again, for those that listen to the prayer meditation that was created, that Proverbs 31 woman, it barely even addresses her husband. It talks about her husband, it mentions her husband in that passage, but it barely like talks about him having any authority over her or telling her anything other than like praising her. You know what I'm saying? But in there, it talks about her buying land. It talks about her, being an entrepreneur of some sort. It talks about how she's taking care of her household and her maidens and all these different things, where it's just like, I mean, how do we push this narrative that women don't have authority of some sort? I love the verse, and I say it all the time on here, and I love the verse that tells me that I got authority over my husband's body. You know what I'm saying? Are we making light of those positions? Are we making light of those authorities that are given? I think so. I think we're so caught up in titles and wanting to claim positions that aren't ours, that we make light of the positions that we actually have, and to our detriment, right? To the detriment of our future generations and everything like that. I wrote down the verses that, are in the Bible that refer to women in the church, but I don't even know if I'm led to read them at this moment. Just because, again, I feel like there's just so much focus on what the woman can't do in church, right? That it kind of blocks us from what we can do and what we should be doing. Again, just because you don't have a certain position in the church doesn't mean that you can't be out here doing ministry. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you can't have secular leadership positions. Don't mean that you can't be a teacher or like I said, I don't want to get her name wrong, but I believe it was Deborah was a judge and all these different things. So I mean, it's not that you don't have positions and you don't have authority of some sort. It's just that certain positions, God put men in that position, and I mean, again, as a woman, I'm okay with that. But I won't lie and say that I haven't struggled with this idea. I haven't struggled with trying to figure out, like, well, am I crossing the line to be doing the juice every day? Because I don't know. Are men listening to me? Like, am I, teaching men right now because I'm sharing my Bible study? But I think there's a lot that kind of I guess gives me peace of mind about that, because one, again, this is not a church, okay? And also I am not a pastor, or nothing like that. So, nor am I claiming to be. So again, can I be out here having a talk show and podcast that just happens to be, me sharing something, and I don't know if people look at me as an evangelist or teacher. I don't even really care about any of those titles. I'm just out here trying to do my part with sharing the gospel, right? Trying to do my part with, quote unquote, making disciples or whatever the case is. And I don't know who listens to me. Honestly, I don't know. My stats tell me that there's a lot of men that's listening to me on the podcast. But I mean, who knows? I don't know. That could be just because, people on Spotify have more men that have their that actually bought Spotify. It could not be that men are listening to me. It could be that, so I don't know about all of that, and I've struggled with that while doing this, because every now and then these type of verses, or those verses that people believe that are suppressing women, those verses come up, and then it makes me wonder, again, if I'm out of order, right? If I'm out of order. But, hey, regardless of that, again, y'all can read those verses on your own, and again, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling regarding that, and ask the Lord for revelation regarding that. But here's just a couple more verses that stood out to me this morning. Here's one. It's 1 Corinthians 11:11. It says, "Nevertheless," I'll go ahead and say, "Nevertheless, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man, nor man of woman." Now, I don't think I ever really even noticed this verse before. As much as I would peruse this section, right? And I think my mind would get so caught up or so confused about the whole head covering thing, and trying to figure out, well, am I supposed to be wearing a head covering, or what does this mean, or and all of that? And because I'm like, on one hand, I feel like it's deeper than a covering or a cloth over your head, but then at the same time, it seems like it's literally talking about that. I think my mind was so engulfed in that I kept missing this one, and so this actually stood out to me today, saying that that in the Lord now, in the Lord. Woman is not independent of man, nor man of woman. So, and I thought that was interesting to reflect on in this conversation of out of order. Because again, a lot of us, we do operate independently and whatnot. We definitely value independence in these days, and I mean, I guess I do too. But I don't know. There's also much value in, again, the male and woman, man and woman bond, So, yeah, and I don't think that takes away from God's as you would say, hierarchy regarding us, right? And I guess even though I didn't read those verses about the church, right? Because, I mean, anybody listening to me, I'm assuming that you are a believer of some sort, right? And you may notice that there are women in these days, there are women that are in those positions that the Bible tells us that they should not be. So, all I can say to that is, it seems like to me, like even after kind of like reading some different articles and then also keep reading these verses over and over again and stuff like that, it seems to me that, these things are happening, yes, because things are out of order, but also because men, right, aren't stepping up and being in their, and exercising their authority in their positions. If you're the husband, for example, of a woman that is in a position like that the Bible tells us that we should not be in, then you as the husband, that's on you as the husband, as her husband. From what I'm understanding. Now, again, you might be like, oh, you exert authority over me. You trying to teach me miracle. No, I'm not. I'm just sharing what the Bible. I don't know who's listening to me right now. So I'm just sharing what the Bible says. So according to this, it's telling me, as I study, that the man, the husband of that woman, should be correcting that woman. And she should be submitting to him when he does that. And if he isn't doing that, then we're out of order, and that's on you, husband. Same for the other things. I mean, if there aren't men, right, that are stepping up in those positions and being good stewards of the word and being, like this says here, letting Christ be your head, right? Then you, sir, are out of order. So therefore, the woman is out of order, and then the children are out of order, and all this stuff. We're out of order. The whole world, the whole world is. But then, it comes back on us as the church as well, and stuff. Because again, people that don't believe like that, what do they even know about this? What do they even care about this? But believers, right? This is why we should be in order, right? And so, one more thing to think about, y'all, and I'm gonna, I guess I'm gonna let this go today, or whatever. We'll see what the Lord do, man. Whatever you want to do, Lord. 1 Corinthians 11:2, it says, "Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you." So yeah, y'all, I think we all know that things are out of order. So what are we to do? Well, it seems like we need to, get things in order, everyone follow Christ, right? Men, or husbands in particular, let Christ be the head. Women, your husband, right? Your husband, not all men over women. From what I'm understanding now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, whatever the case is. From what I'm understanding, your husband, submit to your husband, right? And that's the juice. That is the juice today. It might be sour, it might be pulpy, you might not like it, but I don't know. Again, I don't know why the Lord got me talking about it, but hey, here we are, and that's what I studied this morning, and that's the juice. The Bible verse of today is Psalms 85:2. It says, "Thou hast forgiven the iniquity of thy people, thou hast covered all their sin." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow on my anniversary, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hey y'all, I'm Nyla O'Neal with Anchor Providing Institute. We're located at 737 South Hill Street in Griffin, Georgia. Look, this program was birthed out of a will to help and push you closer to your dream, customizing each and every learning path for each and every student, giving you hands-on education with myself and other teammates. We're here to help you and drive you to be the best version of yourself. Look, we're a 12-week program, and it will be vigorous, but it will be worth the work. Put the work in, you will see it in the end. We are dedicated to seeing you not only finish our program, but to get certified. We are an accredited school through the National Phlebotomy Solutions, and we are so ready to meet each and every one of you. Contact us